Morning.
Morning.
Can we quiet down? Like Nanny and Sam, my name is Tomas, Wisper, Talamantes. Like Nanny and Sam, I made some bad choices, and I went to prison as well. I include my nickname in there, Wisper, because before I became a gang member, I used to do graffiti. And so I still go by that name, Wisper, because when I got out of prison, I went back and started doing art again. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But what I want to talk about is about the difference between Hollywood and reality. Because we know that Hollywood produces a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows about things, and we think that those things are real, right? How many people seen movies about prison? Who knows what this show is? Okay, orange is blue, black. What about this movie? Okay. But let me tell you something. From first-hand experience. I got arrested at the age of 19 for a murder robbery. I got 26 years to life. And like Sam said, nobody was going home at that time. So when I got convicted at 20 years of age, and they gave me 26 to life, I said my life's over. I didn't get the death penalty, but I'm just gonna go to prison and I'm gonna die in prison. I'm not gonna come home at 20 years of age. And so I didn't change. Why am I gonna change? Right? Continue being the gang member, continue getting in trouble, and as a result, 5 years into my sentence, I went and I got validated as a prison gang member. Because just like you're here in school, if you can't get along with your classmates, if you're being disruptive, you're skipping school, you're fighting with your classmates, you're bringing drugs, guns, anything like that, they're going to remove you from this school and they're going to place you somewhere else. Because you're being disruptive. You're a threat to the safety and the security of staff, the teachers, the counselors here, as well as your fellow classmates, as well as yourself. And that's what I was doing in prison. I was being very disruptive. And I was a threat to the safety and security of the administration as well as every prison throughout the system. So they put me in solitary confinement. So from 94 to 2001, I was in solitary confinement. And let me tell you, you see these movies and they're entertaining, right? They're dramatized, they're exciting. But prison's not like that. The reality is, just like, let me ask you this. What's the one subject that is boring, that you don't like, you don't want to be in that class? Okay, now imagine this. Hold it down. Now imagine this. Imagine you're stuck in that class all day for the whole year. You can't go to no other class. You're stuck in that class all day, all year. You don't get to go home. You have to live in that class. That's what prison's like. It's the same thing. And it's something you can't get rid of. and you can't escape. It's your reality, and you have to deal with it. How many people think it's exciting when someone else wants to kill you? Do you think that that's something you would want to wake up every day and say, oh, I gotta watch my back, because today somebody's going to try and, stop my heart? Is that exciting? That's the life I lived. Every day, waking up, today I could die. So I had to make a choice. Eventually I made a change. I started, working on myself, mainly because I started believing in God. And it wasn't like in that situation where somebody was coming and trying to tell me about God. It was that God spoke to me. And that's how I began to change. And eventually, I went to the board like Sam. They let me out. I got out in 2013. But prison is not like the movies. It's not entertaining. It's not exciting. It's not fun. There's a lot of deprivation that you go through. You can see the difference between this picture on the left and this picture on the right. That's Hollywood. This is reality. That's Pelican Bay. That's solitary confinement, where you come out of your cell for only 1 hour and a half. And that's where you go to exercise. That's where you come out for an hour and a half. And look what they're wearing. Boxers, t-shirt, socks. That's what you get to wear. You don't get to wear your personal clothes. You wear a jumpsuit over that when you move, when you're on a movement. And one of the things that you experience in there in solitary confinement is a thing called sensory deprivation. Everybody's born with 5 senses: taste, touch, sight, sound, smell, right? Hearing. Every time, like, you have a favorite song. It's your favorite song because you heard it, and every time you hear it, it's tied to an emotion. It makes you feel something because you experienced something. Maybe you were at a dance, or maybe you were at a quinceañera or a party or something like that. And that's why it's your favorite song. Or your favorite cake or your favorite ice cream. It's because you tasted it. And so when you think about it, you can remember how it tastes. But when you're in there, if you look at that picture, what do you see? 4 walls. You see less, you taste less, you hear less, you see less things. So all your senses are being deprived, and your experiences are being deprived, and your emotions are being deprived, and you begin to feel less and less. Has a psychological effect upon you. And you become cold, dead, and empty. And you become angry. Because in there, you're just waiting to die. And inside of us, we all know that we have a purpose. That we all have meaning. That we all have value. That we're important. But in there, you feel like you're not. You take a cup and you put it on the shelf and you put it up there and you don't use it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, no harm, no foul. But a cup has purpose. You can fill it with water and you can drink out of it. Imagine if we didn't have no cups at all. We'd all be drinking out of our hands or straight from the faucet. Right? But when you take a person, and you take that person and you put them on the shelf, like they do in prison, and they put you in there for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and they tell you sit there till you die. They're telling you psychologically that you have no purpose, that you have no meaning, that you don't matter, you're not important. And that's why I was really angry. And that was one of the things that I had to deal with before I got out. And that's one of my motivating factors as to why I come to schools with Danny, and I work at schools in San Jose, and I work with youth, teaching them art and teaching them principles that you learn from practicing art. Because one of the things, like, you don't understand why you're here in school, you know, you're learning the basic academics, right? Reading, writing, math, spelling, English, history, the basic academics of education. And a lot of these things you're not going to apply when you get older and you go to work, whatever it is that your career may be. But what you are learning, you're learning principles. You're learning social interaction, you know, interacting with your classmates. You're learning time management. You're learning to be accountable and being responsible, because you're accountable and responsible for your own actions. If you don't graduate, that's on you. You can't blame your friends or anybody else. It's your responsibility. You're accountable for your actions. These are the principles that you're learning here that you're going to take and apply when you become an adult in the workplace and in your life. And it's the same thing with art. There's principles that you learn from practicing art. And those are the things that I teach youth and other people, that they can take these principles and apply them to their life. Coping skills, things that they can help to make better decisions so that they can become successful in life. Because we all struggle, and life isn't easy. But the bottom line is that, you know, we have to make it what it is. And we can make a difference. We can change, just like Danny did, just like Sam did, just like I did. We can overcome the things that we encounter. But we don't want you to do the same things that we have done. But we can't be there watching you all the time. And we can only hope that you make the right decision and not experience the things that we have. Thank you.